Hello and welcome to 2023. So, I thought I would kick off this brand new year with a little deep dive into the 2023 energies. And I thought I would just record myself channeling through some of the energies, some guidance, maybe ways of how we can best prepare for what feels like another big year off the back of 2020 and beyond. So, welcome to the new year. However, you've felt, however, you've been feeling over Christmas and New Year, I hope that you are feeling okay right now. And I know there's been so many energies and emotions and all sorts of things coming up into the collective and individually. So, welcome back. And for those of you who are following my live streams before, I had a big old break because I came down with total flu. My voice was sore, so I'm kind of about 90% there, but my voice is a little bit funny, but I am very well anyway. So yeah, I just thought I would go into channel and channel through for you and for myself some guidance, because I know there's a lot of speculation around what 2023 is going to bring. Some people are feeling worried about it. I know I've seen a lot of people feel a little apprehensive. Some people are feeling really excited and magical about it. And I think personally, I have a bit of a mixed view about this year. So personally, I've got a lot of things I'm excited about, but collectively, I know that we have a lot to move through. So I'm just going to channel directly. And for those of you, in case you've never come across me, I know sometimes people just suddenly find me out of the blue. So for those of you who've never met me before or we've never crossed paths, my name is Marie Fleming Grant, and I'm founder of the Awake Revolution. And I'm very much here to help you drop the baggage, wake up the real you, and revolutionize how you and we think, feel, live, create, so that you can be all of who you came here to be. So I am a pretty logical, down to earth, practical, grounded person. And I'm also a channel, and I channel, for those of you who don't know, my divine, beautiful team of guides are the Arcturian High Council and the High Angelic Realm. So I have the privilege and honor of being able to channel both energies. And what they both have in common is a complete and utter love and support for humanity and for all of us going through this massive ascension process. So these are the beautiful beings I get to channel through. And I kind of, for those of you who've never tuned into me before, I flip between, and you'll get to know as we go through, I flip between me just chit-chatting as me, and then I kind of channel through the messages that come through. So I kind of flit in and out. A lot of people who are familiar with me and my messaging, you will sort of be able to discern when I'm channeling directly, when I'm not, but it doesn't matter. You'll pick it up as you go. And more importantly, you'll feel the energies. So when I channel through these beautiful beings, there's an energy that you will feel, because they're, not only do I receive the information directly, and it's the words and the visuals sometimes that I get, it's almost like I interpret this language, I suppose, that I can interpret and then I can relay. But there's also this incredible energy that comes through with what they share. So I get to feel that, and then as I deliver that, I have light codes that come through my voice. And then people often explain that they can that they feel certain energies. It's a beautiful thing to be around. Anyway, let us dive in then to 2023. And I'll just see, I hope my voice holds out, because it does feel a little bit, still repairing itself, but it's okay. I'm a little bit blocked up, but I am, yeah, much better than I was. So let me just see where to start then. Okay, so let's see. The first thing that we can expect in 2023 is continuous change. So let me see what they want to channel through. So first of all, greetings, beautiful beings. We are delighted to be able to share some information for you so that you can best prepare and allow yourselves to move through this forthcoming year with as much ease and grace as is possible. And so what we are about to share are messages, and perhaps some of you will feel that they are somewhat mixed messages, because there is not one linear trajectory for this upcoming Earth year. There are many different levels and many different energetic states that you will most likely feel through this year. And so, depending on your levels of awareness and depending on humanity's levels of consciousness, which differ in different countries, different towns, different communities, each of you are going to experience your own very unique experience of this year. So we will elaborate as we go through. So first of all, it is an encouragement for you to get very steady in your own bodies. So when you are moving through much change, and we are talking about rapid change here on the earth plane. So what many of you are already aware of, that you have been moving through dramatic changes in the systems and the structures that are here on the earth plane. So again, this is knowledge that some of you already have and some of you are picking up as you go. We want to remind you that the whole entire earth plane is going through a huge shift. So what this means is a complete rebuilding, so to speak, of every significant structure that you have on your earth plane. This will include every sector you can imagine: political, health-wise, legal, your food productions, your healthcare, your education systems. Pretty much everything that you do as humans will be under the spotlight. And so what you have been experiencing already is a dismantling, a disintegration in some areas, in some pockets of some of the systems that you have had for an incredibly long time. And so as these are being dismantled, you have already been experiencing some challenges in these areas. And so this is going to continue. And the first thing that we wish to share with you to help ground you into this shifting process is to understand that these changes are going to continue for some years to come. So we know that some of you have been tapping into messages that perhaps are giving you very specific timescales, timeframes for things to come out into the open, perhaps for things to be dealt with, concluded. And whilst this is accurate to some level, we want to also encourage you and remind you, in order to strengthen you, each and every one of you, for you to understand and know that this is a more of a long-term situation. These circumstances that you will move through will be imagining that they are going on for each year that you are here in this lifetime. Not to say that you will not see significant and tremendous change, but this will occur every single year as you move through your lifetime. There'll be more changes and more changes and more changes. And so we often use the phrase that you are here as part of the transitions team. And the transitions team consists of those of you who are tuning into this message. Whenever you find your way to this message, you are here to see through the illusions and understand and know that what you are being presented with in your physical realities is not accurate. It's not remotely connected to the true sovereignty of who you really are and the powers that each one of you hold. And so as your eyes are open and your consciousness is expanding, you will be, by your very natures, witnessing and observing the collapse, the dismantling of all of which you have known. And so this will bring up much discomfort, even if you are aware, and even if you are fully or even partly conscious. It will most likely bring up feelings of discomfort, because you are dismantling everything that you have relied on, everything that you have become accustomed to and comfortable with. And so our message, first of all, we wish to surround you with so much love and to give you encouragement and to remind you that this is why you came. Your souls understood and knew this as you entered into this incarnation, into your physical bodies, that you would be here for this tumultuous time. And so if you can allow yourselves to connect back into this, if you can remind yourselves, and we remind you in this moment now as we speak to you on a soul level, that you came here for this time. And so when the challenges are present, when you are maybe feeling doubtful or even fearful at points, or uncomfortable or annoyed or aggravated, reminding yourselves that you came here to experience this, to assist humanity. And so we know that sometimes this type of message will meet you where you are, and sometimes this type of message may feel a little frustrating depending on your current frequency, and this is okay. So receiving this particular message as far as is comfortable for you, and it may be one that you return to at a later point this year, and it may resonate with you even further. So the first thing that we wish to encourage you with is stepping into your courage, stepping into your knowing that you are here for the long-term game, so to speak. And so the way through this, the way to really operate through these energies, and we will get a little bit more specific with you in a moment. But first, to start with, the way through this is to start to practice grounding into your body, doing things that really allow you to come back home into your bodies, because your power lies inside of your bodies. Some of you who are feeling connected to above, and this is happening for more and more of you, which is wonderful, there is also a need for you to ground back, land back into your bodies, and understand that your intuition and your knowing comes from inside of your physical human body. Your DNA inside your body is incredibly valuable, and this is where your codes are getting activated. This is where much of your knowledge and wisdom is starting to come through as more and more of you understand your multifaceted nature. Even those of you who perhaps were a little more skeptical of this in the past are now starting to remember. You are now starting to come out of the veil of forgetfulness and starting to remember that you really are a multifaceted spiritual being who has come here for the human experience. And so on this note, we wish to tap into for you the energies of this forthcoming year. And okay, so showing me, okay, give me a breath. Thank you. And they're showing me the energy in a way that I understand and I can relate to you in terms of the numerology of the year. 2023 is a vibration of 7, first of all. So excuse me if you can hear the creaking, as my chair is a little bit creaky. So the vibration of 7, okay, so they're just asking me to just tap into this with you. So the vibration of 7 in numerology, and reminding you as well and confirming that numerology and the energies behind numbers, it's all energy, frequency, and vibration. And so there is an energy with numbers, yes. And so the energy of 7 is very much around spiritual understanding, insights, understandings, yourselves on a deeper level, connecting to your divine natures, information, wisdom, knowledge, learning, growth. So all of these energies are can be very internal, very inwards and reflective, but they also speak to what is happening in the collective. So what will be going on then is more information, as many of you are already aware, lots more information coming into the collective consciousness. So you've already been seeing some of what most of you are aware of when we say disclosures, information, insights, wisdom, hidden information starting to come out more into the mainstream, into the collective consciousness. So we know that many of you are asking the question of, when will this be known? When will the collective, when will the mainstream understand what is going on the planet? So we are speaking now of the bigger programs such as human trafficking, the deception, the manipulation that has been going on the earth plane for many, many years, centuries. And so we know that a lot of you are holding this question. So we want to remind you that there is no set trajectory in terms of when this is coming through, because the collective itself is creating its experience. But each and every one of you who is being aware and bringing parts of these energies up into the light through speaking of them, through acknowledging them and seeing them, you are helping this. Even if you feel insignificant, you are not. You are helping this come into the collective. Each soul, imagine that each soul is a light, and every time a light gets switched on, the entire earth plane starts to light up more and more. And when there is more light on the earth plane, which is what is happening, this will bring up into the mainstream, into the collective, all the information and more of the information that was hidden. So imagining they're showing me the image of a dark room. They've shared this one with me several times before, actually. So imagining that we're in a dark room, like a big castle, huge dark room, and it's dark, and there's, you can't see. What we're doing is each of us are coming in with a torch or a candle, and as more of us are holding the torch and the candle, we're lighting up this dark castle, and then we can start to see in the corners where the cobwebs are. We can start to see those little crevices and corners and cracks in the building that we couldn't see before. So this is happening more and more and more. And the energies of this year is going to amplify this. So expect to see a continuation, really, of what you have already been witnessing, more of the information trickling through, more downloads, more insights, more of the hidden programs and agendas coming slowly into the mainstream. There will be certain pockets that feel less slow. They'll feel more rapid information coming through. So this is wonderful. And we know that many of you will be delighted to know that this is continuing and will be more rapid in some elements. In some elements, there will perhaps be a slightly more slower disclosure of certain things, but know that it is going in the right direction. And also understanding and trusting that the collective is collectively bringing it up. And so you are doing this in a pace that matches where humanity is, and it's matching the ability of humanity right now to be able to take these truths and light and to hold them without a huge, what could be, say, like almost like a psychotic breakdown that isn't serving humanity. So this is being done in stages, and the collective itself is experiencing whatever it needs to experience. So we wish to reassure you that things are moving. There is so much light being held on the planet, and there is more light continuously streaming through, and this will result and continue to allow the hidden to become known. Understand, however, that the known aspects coming through will very much depend on a person's consciousness. So for those of you who are feeling very impatient, understandably so, that you wish your relatives and your friends and your communities, perhaps, especially those of you who have been ousted by some of them, for holding your perspectives, you are, of course, eager for many of these people to know, to see, to understand, to know that what you are sharing was accurate. And so we just wish to gently remind you that perhaps they will, but perhaps they won't. Because even when this information starts to come into the mainstream, they're just showing me, it's almost like, imagine a big spotlight on a stage, right? And it's lighting up the whole stage. The people in the front are going to really feel that light. They're going to see it. They even see it, kind of feel it reflected on their faces. The people who are sitting right at the back will be able to see it, but they won't be able to have the same upfront close experience. So they're just showing me that visual. And reminding us that there will still be some people that are choosing to look elsewhere, or their consciousness is not allowing them to hold some of this information that is coming through. However, there will be a lot more people who will start to see pockets of this. And so it will be a mixture of people who are already aware, perhaps feeling more validated, perhaps feeling more acknowledged. There'll be another sector of people that will start to connect the dots, connect the pieces, start to begin their process of seeing behind the illusion, and perhaps pondering that maybe there is something more to all of this unfolding. And there will also be some of those people who will really look away, or just not have the consciousness to be able to see it or understand it. So there'll still be a mixture of these perspectives. But this is okay. And this is because you cannot speed up individual consciousness, but collectively know that you are moving in the right direction. So understand and trust this. And we want you to know that even on the days where it feels like nothing is changing, everything is changing. You are tremendously creating a very brand new paradigm here on the earth plane. And so trust it, trust and know that this is what you are doing, and hold this knowing inside of you as much as you can. Okay, good. Good. I like that. That feels reassuring, I think, right? Very reassuring. So they want to speak now to, health. Health is going to be a major theme coming up in 2023. So, okay, so first of all, and it's the angelic realm. They work with the Arcturians, and they kind of they work together. But it's the angelic realm that's coming through now with the Arcturian message, because they want to, as we deliver this message, to surround you in the highest vibration of love, and to send some soothing, healing energy to your hearts, because this is not an easy topic, and there's some sadness that will accompany this. And so, but it is what it is. And so this is what I'm channeling through. So we want to touch on the implications of health this year. And this is not a surprise to some of you, but we are speaking also gently so that we can incorporate this message for those of you who perhaps are more new to this and who are starting to tiptoe into understanding that all is not what it seems. And so you will be seeing as a theme more and more. Again, it's a continuation of what has already been playing out the last year. And so you will be seeing much more of this, people's health implications coming to light. And so we just wish to shine a light on this, that there will be a continuation of many exiting the planet through what will look like either longer term health implications or even sudden. You already know this phrase of people passing suddenly, and so this will be a continuation of this, because it is a consequence of some of the choices that have been made in previous earth years. And so what we want to share with you first of all is a reminder, and we have shared this message previously, is a reminder first of all that every soul made a decision around their choices. And so when souls exit and when souls are complete, they leave this incarnation, and there is a divine timing to this. And so sometimes what looks on a human level to feel very tragic, premature, wrong somehow, we want to remind you that there is a bigger picture as well, and there is a divine timing, and souls always choose to leave their incarnations when they are complete. And so a lot of souls are choosing to complete incarnations more in a specific, they're showing me like a specific time frame, because of the nature of the changes, because we are as a collective moving through a very different period of humanity. And so as things get dismantled, we are here to create the new, and not everyone came here to help in the creation of the new energies. Some people have chosen to depart and exit because they are complete. There is nothing more in this particular incarnation that would serve them on a soul level. And so they continue on their journey, and they will return in other incarnations as they always have, according to their soul choice. And so as we share this message, we really want to encourage you to take what resonates with you and to allow yourselves to drop whatever doesn't. There will be a huge shifting in belief systems around this over the next few years and beyond. And so it is our wish to really bring this in, to share this message, to share this light, but to also honor and respect those who perhaps are not yet ready to receive this information. And so this is not to persuade or convince anyone. It is simply to bring this into the mainstream as far as possible. And so we send you so much love, and we remind you, because we cannot have this conversation without reminding you that souls are on their journey, and what you have been fed on the earth plane is a very deep program that death is the end. And this is why so many live in fear. This is why so many get locked into the energy of grieving and not being able to release some of these energies, because there is a complete misunderstanding around the nature of the soul journey. And so it is difficult to have conversations around what is happening without starting to bring this into the mainstream now, and to remind yourselves that a soul is energy. Energy cannot cease to exist. Energy just changes form as it has always done. And so many humans will experience different levels of loss. Grief will be most likely a topic that will come up for many in terms of the collective as well as individually. And so we will return to this subject, and we know that there will be a need to create some spaces to talk more about this, and to shift perspectives, and to allow yourselves to tap into much higher perspectives, ones that are accurate, not the ones that you have been taught for so long on the earth plane. And so we wish to also share that through the year you will be revisiting these topics. And so there will also be the energies of ill health and complications around various health. And we also want to remind you that there are many reasons for this. And so what is coming up into the collective is, in a huge way, is your health systems, because your health systems have been very responsible for creating ill health. They are not what you would have expected. And many of you are starting to step into these insights now, and to step into more of an understanding as to what is happening with our health, with your health systems. And so this will be a theme: sickness, well-being, health, what constitutes real health, real food. And so all of these subjects are linked. One leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. Okay. So they're just going to give me a moment, because that's a lot of information streaming through. Excuse me. And if you're watching, as you're watching this as well, I just invite you to, if there are any questions or anything that you are wanting to dive into, please do comment below, where in whichever platform you're watching this message, because I will be doing a lot more channelings, and I'm pretty much here. I was doing daily live streams, maybe not daily, but they'll be very regular. So I have a lot of space to be able to channel through perspectives and information. So please don't hesitate if there are anything that we've shared so far that has invoked more questions, or you want to know a little bit more about it, or you just anything that's come up, please do pop it below, whether you're tuning in now or even a few months later, whenever you find yourself directed to this message. Because we are here to assist, and my team is really wanting to help expand you as much as possible. And so questions are so welcome. Okay, so any of you that want to pop some questions below. Okay, so just giving me a moment to integrate that, and we'll see what else, because it's a real mixture, right? Expansions on one hand, but sometimes these things are going to come up that really don't feel so amazing, and they're going to be difficult for us to witness, and we've already been feeling this, right? Okay, let's see what else. Okay, so kind of a little bit off the back of that, this year will be a very strong year for personal development and spiritual growth. So of course, they're saying every year is here for this as well, but this year particularly in the collective, you will be guided, more and more of you, if you're already feeling this, to really go deeper within yourselves than you've ever gone before. So the more that the outside world becomes chaotic, and this will continue, so it is best to be prepared and to understand that this is part of the process. The more that it becomes chaotic, okay, we're going to talk about financial things as well in a moment. The more that it becomes chaotic out there, there is a deeper need for you to go internally. And many of you who tune into these messages will already be on this journey. But for those of you who are more at the beginning, and are being invited into this, we highly encourage you to trust what you are being nudged towards, and trust yourself, because you are getting those nudges. Many people are being guided within, and the year of 2023 is really setting you up to go on this journey. And so there'll be a lot of internal reflections. A lot of you will experience changing. So again, a lot of this is continuation from before, but changing your tastes, your preferences. More of you are dropping away from the old ways of being. And some of you, sometimes when you don't know where you're going, you can be in this strange in-between state, and this is okay. But know that there is a disentangling from the old energies, maybe even people, circumstances, situations, food, ways of living, creating, being, working, ways of thinking. And the old paradigms, you are going to be called to step out of them. So you'll be continuing to expand. There's a lot, because again, there's so much light coming in. Many of you are feeling these light codes, activations. Your DNA is changing. And so you are expanding, you are stepping into your true natures more and more. And so you are going to experience so many changes outside of you and also within. And so we encourage you, if you can, to really allow yourself and surrender into these changes, to release the need to have this figured out. Because one of the huge aspects that is occurring on your planet right now is coming out of the linear, logical. We spoke of this many times last year. Yeah, we did. Of coming out of the logical, linear ways of thinking and planning and strategizing and preparing. And so you are being guided more now into letting go of all of this and coming back into daily check-ins, daily practices, which can create fear in some of you when you are very used to planning and knowing everything in advance. Your world is changing very rapidly. And this is a beautiful, wonderful thing, but it can create a lot of unsettled feelings. Yes, we can feel and sense these. And so we wish to encourage you to loosen. They show me like let go of the, if you were holding reins like really tight. I did a lot of this last year personally, actually, of like kind of things I was like planning and controlling and holding on really tight. We just learned to let it go and just let ourselves move with it. Allow yourself to be nudged and guided into the directions, some of the things you maybe not even planned, and just letting it all loosen and soften so you can float through. Because what causes much suffering and pain is when you are clinging very tightly and trying to make things happen, which doesn't tally with the energies that are coming in. There is too much chaos right now on the earth for you to control and plan. It is the opposite energy that is required. And so we encourage you with so much love to allow yourselves and give yourself the gift of letting go as far as you can and practice, moving through this time. Yeah. So I'll just give that a moment. Let me know how that feels, because that's a big one. That's one I've been practicing more and more, and it does get easier. So yeah, I definitely can vouch for that. Definitely gets easier, but it does require a little bit of trust, right? And I just want to share with you one of my personal mantras or beliefs, and I do have this, and I guess I've cultivated it and it really feels strong. But I know that everything will always work out somehow. I really do have this belief. I've shared it before, where I do now have this trust of I know that when things don't go the way that I want, and plenty of things did not go the way I wanted last year, but I know that when I remind myself that I've survived every day of this life, so have you. We've survived every single moment to get here, and we've always been okay, even when we haven't, even when things have gone wrong, horrendously wrong, right? We've always survived it. And so, if you can tap into that trust of knowing everything will always be okay, right? It just is that way. It's going to help it's just going to help you maybe float a little bit easier than having to try and figure out, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to do it? What does it mean? Why am I doing it? And just trusting it. And I know that's challenging, and I'm aware as I'm saying that is a challenging thing, but let's just bring it out right now, and you can tap into it, as and when. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so financial. Yeah, financial is going to be a big theme as well in this coming year. So we want to remind you, and this is a very good topic to help bring you back into your own sovereignty. You will have heard already of talk around things such as recession, economic downturn, big, huge changes and shifts. And so as we are tapping into the energies, we can confirm that, yes, there will be much, again, chaos, change, excuse me, in your financial structures and systems. And of course, because it's such a big embedded one, this will be one subject to a massive amount of change. And so every time there is a change on your planet, they're showing me there is a splitting off of two paths, two trajectories, two choices. You've already seen this in the narratives that have come through since 2020. You've had those who have chosen this path and those who have chosen this path. And so every time a system is being dismantled or shaken up, you're going to be presented with two different paths. And these will vary depending on the area, but we can simplify this by saying one is typically artificial, constructed, deliberate, based on control, enslavement, fear, stress, chaos, squeezing you in, panic. So this is one path. And then the other path, but with this path, there'll be almost a helping hand, a guidance, one that you can follow the breadcrumbs, and this is the path, right? So you don't have to do as much thinking on this path. You just follow, do as you're told, do as you're being told to do. And this is the kind of artificial trajectory. The other path they're showing me is the one that is, you may call, organic, natural, connected to divinity, sovereignty, choice, freedom, expression, all of these beautiful energies. On this path, however, there is less of a guidance as a structured one over here, because you are, by virtue of choosing this path, you are bringing in new energies that do not exist typically on the earth plane. You're anchoring in higher frequencies, new ways of being, which is very new for humanity. So this will require trust, and it will require you to really, if you are on this path, to tap into your own knowing and your own trust, and to start to see yourselves now as the truly creative divine beings that you are. This is not showing me like they're not internet quotes or sweet sayings or fluffy, meaningless perspectives. These are universal truths, universal laws. This is the very fabric of the way that the entire universe operates. You are creator beings. And so we are just showing you that there are two paths. So when we're bringing it back to the financial aspect, you are already being primed and prepped for a very difficult economic financial time, cost of living rising, people going into fear around the prices, the costs, how will they survive, how will they afford things, how will they do this, and all of these very natural, and we wish to send that love, but very natural fear-based reactions that humans will have when they do not understand how your creator powers work. They do not understand that by following this narrative is what they are creating. They are assisting the creation of this. And so you may see the world experience a lot of this, a lot of fear and chaos and panic, as you have done in previous times in your history around the financial sectors. You will see much of this occur. And so when you do, it is important for you to understand that there are two choices. You always have two choices, even when it looks like there is only one, because you are here to help create the new path. And so we want to remind you that when you are in a situation that is creating fear or stress or worry, this is why coming back to yourselves internally, going inward and connecting into your personal development, spiritual growth is the superpower that will help you navigate this entire history that you are moving through. This is where the power comes from. It comes from understanding yourselves as energy, frequency, and vibration, understanding yourselves as creator beings, that what you think and focus on comes to be. Everything on this planet that you are on has been created from thoughts and intentions. And those that are historically have been here to control humanity have a full understanding of this, which is why you are being fed narratives and stories of what is to come. And so we encourage you to look and see what is being shared. Yes, to have a look and see it, and then choose to walk down the path of your choosing. And many of you, most of you listening to this message, whenever these words find you, are the ones here that are here to help create the new. And this is why many of you have understood the illusions ahead of the masses, ahead of the majority. And as frustrating as this feels, there has been good reason, because it has been so that you can walk this path ahead of the majority. It is very important that you understand this, and it is very important that you start to remember this and start to love yourselves and understand that this is why you came. You are a divine, sovereign creator being. The things that you think about, the energies that you hold, create worlds. You can shift your entire trajectory by the way that you choose to live. It does not matter what your reality looks like in this moment, but what matters is your choices going forwards. And so you have the power to create your own experiences. And so it is also important to note that there cannot be an avoidance of a certain collective experience, but it is your reactions and responses to it that you get to create. So they want you just to take a breath right now, right here, right now, on that truth. Just breathing that in. And what they're kind of showing me is, because there's been a bit of a distortion, you know how in some of these spiritual personal development communities, there's a bit of a belief that if we think positive things will happen. It is more layered than that, because what they're showing me as well, and they remind me of this quite frequently when I channel for people, excuse me, is that there is the collective, all of us on the planet, imagine all of that, billions of us. There's a lot of us who are fear-based, who are looking at things that we don't want, and we're going into fear and we're believing this narrative over here, right? So there will be an element of what we experience that will be very unwanted. We don't want to see, look what's happened since 2020. We haven't wanted to see hardly any of that, but we've had to witness, observe it, know the bullshit behind it, and we've had to watch it, right? Not pleasant. So there will be collective things happening. So let's say, costs of things are going up. People are now starting to worry about their fuel bills and things that we didn't really worry so much about before, right? So there's a collective experience happening, and that is something that has to unfold. We can't stop it, change it, shift it in that way. We have to it's like a purging. Some stuff's coming up. We have to be able to see how bad it is. in order to say no, in order to create over here. So we've got to let some of this stuff come up. We've got to let all these kind of unwanted things come up. So that's the collective. But how we individually respond, that over here is very much in our hands. And this is the bit that when we get caught up in this too much, we forget that we have our own individual experience over here. And that is based on nothing that anyone out there can control. So it's always about how we're thinking, how we're feeling, how we're processing, what our energetic set point is, our vibration and frequency. And some of you understand all of those things as I'm saying them. For some of you, you may be wondering, what is frequency, vibration? And those are things that perhaps this year you will start to learn more about. I talk about them a lot. So, stay tuned, connect with me, other people out there that speak of the same. And so we're going to be learning and stepping more into these. But the point here is what they are wanting to share is that despite what we may have to observe and witness, difficult things, unwanted things, it is part of the process, but it does not take away from the fact that we can create something over here that is our own experience, right? What's coming to my head, into my mind right now, is the book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And if you haven't read it, it's a really great book. I recommend it. And it just flashed into my mind right now to share this, was that, you had this man in a concentration camp, right? And we all know what went on in those concentration camps and the experiences that many had. And there was little that they could do about it. They were stuck there. They were experiencing this horrendous thing. But we have now, since then, received and heard stories, right, of the individuals in that collective experience, that they had very specific experiences because it was from their own psyche, right? They experienced things, those survivors, that somehow they were the ones that survived. They were the ones that got through. Why? Because they didn't tap into the collective consciousness. They were able to cultivate their own, so we can always move through, even if everything around us is breaking down. There's going to be a lot of breakdown of a lot of things. How we move through that is very much our choice. And we can create actually amazing, magnificent, magical things in spite of the absolute catastrophes that are occurring on this planet, right? Because we understand that it's like a necessary way. The other thing they're just pinging through for me to remind you of is an analogy that they've shared with me, and I've shared it here before on a video, where they show me that what we're doing is we are clearing the energies and creating new. So imagine a piece of land that you want to build your dream house on, and you've got this piece of land and there's an old shoddy building there. So the wrecking ball comes in and we have to demolish that old shoddy building, right? And as we do, the wrecking ball comes in and there's a complete mess, right? Imagine across the grounds there is broken glass and pieces of building, and it's a complete mess. It's all had to come down. It had to come down. We couldn't build on that land while that building was still there. So we've had to wrecking ball in, create this complete demolishing of this old structure. And then we have to go through the cleanup period. We've got to clear away the debris. We might get a bit cut and bruised, and, we've got to be careful, but we can clear it all up. And then we are able to plant new things on that land, plant beautiful crops and fruits and plants, and then build the houses and whatever beautiful thing we want on that land. So there's a process. But imagine if in that process we started freaking out when the wrecking ball came in to take down that old system, because we're scared, because we don't want to lose that old house, that system, because we have nowhere to live. But we have to do that in order to make space to create the new. And I found that when they shared that with me initially, and I shared it out on a video, maybe I think it was 2020 actually. I've often come back to that, and I remember that analogy, and it reminds me when I start to see things out there that I think, oh my goodness, like what the hell? It reminds me of, no, this is what we're doing. So we wanted to share that with you again, for you to remind yourself, or to even hear it for the first time, that this is what we're doing. So to go into fear around the unwanted doesn't make sense. It's natural. It's human. You might have moments. That's okay. But You don't have to stay there. It makes no sense to stay in the fear because it's a part of the process. We're going to see these things come down and collapse. We need to. What we have here hasn't been working. And many of you are here as part of the transition team to help create the new, including those of you who do not even know yet what that looks like. You don't have to be a healer. You don't have to be, a certain job title or any of that. There's so many ways. A lot of you have come in to anchor in the light. A lot of you, no matter what your jobs titles are, whether you have a job or not, you've come in here to be the change, to be the frequency. And do not underestimate that your presence here has a massive impact on this earth plane. Massive. And that is a message a message that they've been continuously sharing. You have a massive impact. Your presence here makes a huge difference. Huge. Okay. I just see what else. My voice is going a little bit funny, so I might wrap it up in a minute, but I'm going to be channeling constantly. This is the energy of 2023, and that's it. There's so much more, but they just wanted to share those initial pieces. So I'm just going to ask, so how best, I'm just going to ask the question for all of us, how best then with these massive changes, chaotic stuff, unwanted things that we're going to be seeing and all of that, how best and what can we be doing to help this whole thing? What are the top few things that we can be doing if we don't know what to do, right? Let's see. What can they say? Okay, yeah. So a few things, yes. So first of all, to make space every day for your own thoughts and feelings, to give yourself space to go inwards. As we shared, the going inwards is a huge theme. This is a year of spiritual growth, of remembrance, of a very deepening of your spiritual journeys. And it is very, very important that you give yourselves the time and space. So we encourage you, each and every one of you, to give yourself that gift. Give yourself a gentle walk, quiet moments, quiet times to just think, be alone, even for a few moments, and really dedicate time to solidify yourselves in this way, to get strong, to be at peace with being in your bodies. We also want to encourage you. It's not an urgency, but it is important for you, especially those who are feeling this, who are very aware of this, to do the aspects of healing and release work. This is a great time to do this, as there will be much more ahead to come. And so the more that you can heal and clear and release, the more that the more space you'll have to bring in the new. And so there is a clearing element needed. And so it is not, again, about pressure or urgency, but just allow yourselves to go on this journey and to give yourselves a lot of space. That's another thing. Let's see what else. Okay, fun and enjoyment, even though it sounds like a contradictory energy to that which we have been speaking, we want to encourage you to bring the lightness in. And so many of you, in looking at what is happening in the world, which is also helpful, you are perhaps getting stuck in the doom and gloom of it all. You are getting stuck in some of the what ifs and the worst case scenarios. And so there is a difference between being aware and looking over there in the dark corners and understanding and being aware of certain aspects. There is a difference between this and being caught and controlled by it. And so we really recommend and encourage you to dip in and dip out. Allow yourselves to dip back out and get into lightness. Play with your animals, play music, dance, do things that fill you with joy. Make sure that you have time to laugh and connect with those that you can feel light and relaxed around. This is one of the most important things of all, because it will help you not buy into the fear. And many of you are so sensitive, you can pick up the fear and the heaviness in the collective. And so the more that you can tap into this lightness, the easier a time that you will have, and you will be more empowered, and you will be able to withstand the heavier, dense energies that will be coming up into the collective. So that is one very important aspect. The other thing that will serve you, and they're speaking to those of you who who like to watch a lot of messages and videos and ideas around disclosures. And they're saying, if you enjoy these energies, then continue. But we encourage you to release any tendency to attach to timeframes. So one of the biggest questions that many of you on the earth plane have is when will this happen? How long will this take? And questions of this nature. And we wish to remind you that as we communicate with you outside of your earthly time and space, we can confirm that there are so many trajectories and possibilities spanning out in every moment of your time. There are so many multiple possibilities and options. There is no one set way. And so when you receive messages around very specific, concrete times on your calendar, sometimes they can come to pass, but often they do not. And so what can happen, and some of this is deliberate, is to set yourselves up with much hope and pinning your hopes on certain dates and calendars. And when it does not come to pass, you use this as evidence that nothing is changing. Know that there is a lot of deception and trickster energies that are wanting to, they're showing me like raise your hopes, dangle them, and sort of spit you out. This is intentional because it creates a weakening in your heart and your belief. And so we encourage you to step away from this now, step away from timescales, understand and know that you may see many changes and disclosures and information coming through, but much of it will not happen this year. And much of it will be unfolding gradually over many years, and it will continue. So we know that this is perhaps a message that you do not necessarily love to receive, but we wish to be accurate with you so that you understand how this is working. And so you can just observe without attaching to the specific timescales, because this is catching many of you out and it is causing you grief, some of you. Okay. That's another aspect. So release timescales. And let's see what else. If there's anything else. I'll just take a sip. Let's see. Yeah, I think that is enough for now. I'm just going to allow you to integrate these. You may wish to replay this more than once to receive. You may even wish to come back to this later in the year just to remind yourselves to stay on track in this way. We want to remind you, we want to complete this transmission by reminding you that you are divinely loved and supported. And so many of you, more and more, are tapping into the ideas and the knowings that you have your own divine guides of teams of guides around you, that there is more to you than an earthly human, of course, and that many of you are feeling the desire into expanding. And so we thank you. We thank you for receiving the calls. We thank you for your openness in allowing yourself to move down this trajectory. And this is all part of your soul's growth and things that you had planned to do long before you came into this current incarnation. We want to deeply encourage you to learn how to open up and connect. Know that you are safe and that it is okay for you to do this. Many of you hold some of these older energies from past incarnations, past lives, where it was not safe for you to do this. And so we know that this will be a theme coming up for some of you. And we want to encourage you that you are in a different era, in a different time. And you came here, many of you, to activate your throat chakras and your expressive natures. And so it is time for you to do this if this is what is calling you. It is time for you to follow what is in your hearts to bring into this earth, because you came here to create. We also want to complete this with the final message of discernment. So the more that you shine your light, the more that you increase in your frequency and vibration, and the more that you connect to your heart space, which is the most powerful energy of all that is, you will be likely to encounter manipulative trickster energies. And so we wish to simply remind you of the need to be discerning, and discerning from a place in your body rather than your mind. You have many already in your on your platforms that you follow, perhaps people who are sharing messages that would appear that they are for humanity, but they are not so much. And so there is a need now to start to drop down into your bodies and to start to discern from your bodies, not your minds, of the messages that feel resonant in your body, those people, messages, platforms that you wish to tune into. Be discerning. Know that there is a lot of deception happening. And so the more you can drop out of your mind, not to try and understand things intellectually, but breathe and listen, breathe and tune in, and notice what it feels like in your body. And this is how you will become greater at discerning manipulative energies and those that are shared from a loving presence. And so we know that many of you are becoming better and better at being able to discern and trusting yourselves in this. There is more to come, and we will be delighted to share more with you throughout the year. And trust the messages and guidance that you are getting from inside of you. This is the most powerful energy of all that you can tap into, returning back to your own soul remembrance and following the nudges, those daydreams, those ideas, those visions, the things that perhaps do not make logical sense, releasing the need to figure out how, and allowing yourselves to daydream and imagine what you would really and truly love your lives to be. What would you love to create? What kinds of people do you want to surround yourselves with? What would you like to be spending your time doing? And allowing yourselves to daydream and visualize, because this is very, very potent and powerful. And you sometimes forget how powerful you are, and you can create your reality, but it starts inside of you. And this is something we can return to. Okay, thank you. Okay, so that is it. I don't know how long we've been going there. Maybe over an hour, I cannot see. So yeah, there's always more, but that's enough, I think, for one session. So I hope that you enjoyed receiving the messages and the energies. And again, if you have any questions, or if there is any aspect of what I've spoken about, what we've shared today, that you would like to know a bit more about, or you have questions or anything, drop comments below. Feel free. And any questions that you would just like, maybe perhaps some higher perspectives on, they can get very specific as well around that. So, but this was just more of a general tuning into 2023 and beyond, right? So this year will be whatever we create and make of it. But yeah, I think we all know that there is a lot of stuff coming through. I'm really pleased about more information coming in. I do feel really good when I start to see some of these dark things being highlighted. But I guess I want to just say we've got to understand as well that it's mixed, because there are some people, when they find out, it's going to be pretty devastating to people, right? When people understand maybe what we understand now, everyone's at different levels. It isn't all fun and games, right? It can be really difficult when, people are suffering and they're finding things out, and it shocks us when we originally find things out. So I guess we've got to have really tap into love, compassion, patience as much as we can. And on top of that, when we don't feel those things and we feel aggravated, giving ourselves so much love for when we do not feel love and light about it, right? So that's what I'm really big on, being really real with our emotions. So just being wherever you are on this crazy journey. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning into this. Whenever you do tune into this. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below anytime. And you can, if you want to connect with me, I'm wherever you're watching this, I'm on this platform. So typically Facebook is probably the main platform, but I'm also here on YouTube, here on Instagram, check out my website, theawakerevolution.com, if you want to connect. And let's stay connected to those people who we resonate with through the year, because it helps us remember, right, that we're not alone and that there are more of us. We are scattered all across the planet, right? So we're never alone. So I send you so much love. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll be here live and dropping in very frequently through this year. All right. So take care, and I'll speak to you very soon.